And tonight on Hannity, we expose the man behind the plan to build a mosque just steps away from ground zero right here in New York City. Now, for weeks on this program, I've told you that the views and beliefs of Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf are not only outside the mainstream of America, they are in fact radical. And tonight, you will hear him in his own words. Now, we begin with shocking audio from Aaron Klein Investigative Radio. Now, in this clip, Rauf is asked whether or not he agrees with the State Department's designation of Hamas as a terrorist organization. Listen to this.
I'm not a politician. I try to avoid the issues of the issue of terrorism is a very complex question, and I'm a bridge builder.
But I'm asking though, is Hamas a terrorist organization?
I've defined my work as a bridge builder. I do not want to be placed, neither will I accept to be placed in a position of being put in a position where I am the target of one side or another.
Now, this is the man who has been telling New Yorkers, don't worry, no funding for the mosque will come from terrorist organizations. Yet he himself refuses to acknowledge that Hamas is a terrorist organization. Now, sadly, it gets worse. Just days after September the 11th, Rauf was interviewed by 60 Minutes. He was asked if he believes the United States in any way deserved what happened on 9/11. He responded by saying, quote, well, I wouldn't say the United States deserved what happened, but the United States policies were an accessory to the crime that happened. And then he went on to say, in the most direct sense, Osama bin Laden is made in the USA. Now, this is the man, America, that wants to build a mosque in the shadows of where the World Trade Center towers once stood. And helping to facilitate this project all along has been New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Now, from the moment this controversy arose, he came out in support of the plan, and he did so without ever speaking to Rauf. Take a look at this.
Mr. Mayor, are you satisfied, and have you spoken to Imam Rauf, that he is indeed a man of peace, given his background where he's supposedly supported Hamas, blamed the U.S. for 9/11 attacks?
My job is not to vet clergy in this city. That's not what I should do, and I don't happen to think that anybody in government to do it. Everybody has a right to their opinions.
Now, Mayor Bloomberg may not want to vet this guy, but you've heard for yourself tonight exactly what this imam believes in. Now, here with reaction is the author of To Save America, Stopping Obama's Secular Socialist Machine, which, by the way, is at newt.org. Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, is back with us. Mr. Speaker, welcome back.
Good to be with you.
All right, well, let's go through the list here. He won't condemn Hamas as the terror organization that it is. He refers to America as being an oppressive nation, an accessory to what happened on 9/11, wants America to be Sharia compliant, and bin Laden is made in the USA. Now, most people have not examined his background. What is your reaction when you put this together?
Look, I think all along that this has been a very unusual situation. Here you have somebody who is deliberately picking a political site. I mean, let's be quite clear about this. This has nothing to do with religious liberty. There are over 100 mosques in New York City, and frankly, if he wanted to build his mosque in the South Bronx, I'd applaud him. They need the jobs. But to pick a site deliberately near ground zero is a political act. Second, nobody knows where the money's coming from. I was told the other day that, in fact, currently there is no money. So I don't understand in New York why you can't rebuild the World Trade Center in 9 years. The Greek Orthodox Church hasn't been rebuilt in 9 years. The Westway Highway was never built after 13 years of infighting. But along comes a group who have no money but have permission now to build a 13-story mosque and community center a couple blocks from the World Trade Center. It just strikes me as kind of amazing that the fix is in as long as you're prepared to blame America and as long as what you're doing is, in fact, offensive to most of the families who lost people at 9/11.
If you look at the polls, there are now 2 of them out. The latest Siena poll shows by 2-1, liberal New Yorkers oppose the building of this mosque near ground zero. Now, you have been outspoken about this. Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor, has been outspoken. Governor Palin has been outspoken. Former New York Governor George Pataki. I have been trying to highlight the radical opinions and backgrounds of this imam. But you just heard from Mayor Bloomberg, my job's not to vet the clergy. Everybody has a right to their opinions. And apparently he broke down the other day and was getting quite emotional in the defense of this. What are you to make of Bloomberg's position here?
Well, I don't actually understand where the mayor is coming from. I think that what he said publicly isn't responsive to the case. This has nothing to do with religious liberty. This has nothing, and somebody who goes out and says the United States is an accessory to 9/11, who says that bin Laden is made in the USA, who says that they would like to impose Sharia, which is a very radical, anti-Western legal system that is horrendous. I mean, it provides for killing homosexuals. It provides for stoning women who are adulteresses. It provides for a whole range of punishments we would never accept. It is very anti-Christian and anti-Jew. And you just look at what Sharia is like. And this is the guy who wants to set up what he calls an interfaith center, except, by the way, there's no interfaith. If he'd come in and said, let's open a church, a synagogue, and a mosque in the same building. Let's have people actually worshiping near each other, seeing each other, being involved with each other. Maybe he could make a case. But this is purely and simply, I think, an anti-American act of triumphalism on the part of a radical Islamist who's going to go around the world saying, see, the Americans are so dumb that after we destroy two of their greatest buildings, they allow us to build a mosque near there. And that tells you how weak and how ignorant America is. Well, that's, in essence, what they're going to say.
And I will tell you, it's more frightening that the politicians failed to examine his background, his record. They don't even want to hear it. I mean, you heard just Michael Bloomberg. He doesn't want to hear it. You mentioned about Sharia, where they would kill gays and lesbians, where women would be stoned to death, where a woman who makes an accusation or if there's any accusation of rape, she needs 4 male witnesses. She can't drive. Women can't drive. They can't be seen in public in Saudi Arabia with a male that they're not related to here. This guy is advocating that America become Sharia compliant, totally, completely at odds with our way of life. I find the fact that people choose to ignore this guy's background frightening to me.
Look, I don't understand why Attorney General Andrew Cuomo, who's quite prepared to sue virtually every American, I don't understand why he hasn't demanded that, because he has the right as Attorney General to demand that they show where their money's coming from, that they show that they have enough money to justify this project, that they explain the background of their funding. And I'm surprised that in this case, all of the elite politicians are turning a blind eye, but the American people, and as you said, the people of New York City and New York State, are increasingly opposed. And I think the more they learn about this, the more deeply and strongly they're going to be opposed.
Isn't that where we are, though, in terms of American society? The American people support Arizona's immigration law, but it doesn't matter to liberal Democrats. The American people don't want this mosque built. It doesn't matter to liberal Democrats. We saw what happened in Missouri 2 days ago, overwhelmingly rejecting the health care mandate of the Obama administration. Nobody seems to care. This isn't government up by and for the people, or it does not seem right now in America, which, again, is frightening.
What you have right now is government of the elites, by the elites, and for the elites, whether it's elitist judges overturning the vote of the people of California, or it's elitist politicians in Washington, or in City Hall, or in the Attorney General's office in New York State. But the fact is, as you pointed out, when the American people go to vote, as they did in Massachusetts for Scott Brown, as they did this week in Missouri by 71% to repudiate Obamacare, something big is starting to happen out there.
We're going to talk about that election when we get back. And 89 days from now, we have a big midterm election. Much more with the speaker coming up right after the break. And then later, the left says it wants the Bush tax cuts to expire. But what you may not know is that one prominent Democrat is proposing a little loophole that would save wealthy residents of Democratic districts around the country. We will put this liberal hypocrisy on display for everyone to see. That and much more coming up straight ahead.